fluffy hair on my butt.
We're live.
Okay, I have fluffy hair on my butt.
We're absolutely live. So starting in our back.
Let's see. Can you see me? Okay, we are live. So today is Yoga for Stress. Stay on your mat class. It is not an intense class. Looking for ways to reduce stress, relax, let go of some tension. We have some sage burning in the studio today. So letting go of 2020 is a theme today. Farewell 2020. This is our last Yoga for Stress in 2020. So set up your mat, find your props, lots of props for this class. If you want to end with your feet up on a chair, grab your bolster. We're going to start on your backs. So land on your back, start to land on your mat. I'm going to talk you through grounding and landing. So start to find yourself on your mat and start to think about the weight that you carry in your body. So the stress, the tension that you carry in your body. Start to think about what that muscular tension is. Sometimes it's just we have some muscular tension in our low back from sitting too long. Sometimes we carry our stress in our hips. Sometimes we carry our stress in our shoulders. Start to think about all the places that you hold tension in your body. Start to think about where you most commonly hold your tension, and bring a little warmth into your hands by rubbing your hands together, making them nice and warm. And if you carry your tension in your low back, maybe bring your hands to the sides of your hips, feeling the warmth of your hands. If you carry it up in your shoulders, just resting your hands comfortably somewhere up near your chest and shoulders. Start to think about the warmth of your hand, bringing warmth to the tension and muscles in the place you most commonly hold your tension. Maybe it's at the back of your skull. Maybe reach your hands back and just let the warmth of your hands rest on your body, connection of skin to skin, thinking about warmth and melting into that warmth. So the more that you melt into it, the more you let go. Start to slow your breath. And 2020 has really been a year of change. So a lot has happened in 2020. Some people have experienced big changes, big losses. A lot of change, a lot of anxiety and fear can form within all that change. So we're going to think about it. We're going to think about it as if we're bringing it to the surface, allowing it to come to the surface. Maybe not resting too much on visual and cognitive memories, but just trying to imagine allowing the weight of 2020, the weight of this year, the weight of change, the weight of anxiety, the weight of fear, to come to the surface of the body, as if you're getting ready to let go of the weight of it. With each breath in, imagine you're drawing in fresh breath. And every breath out, you're just releasing some of that weight, releasing what is held, releasing what is ready to be processed and let go of. Breathing in fresh and releasing what is no longer needed. Think about all the weight of the thoughts and worries that rest in the mind. Think about all this weight, all this tension that's rested in the head, slowly melting through the back of the skull and landing in the ground. Feeling the ground support you, ready to carry you, Maybe feeling softer and softer at the base of the skull. Letting all that tension melt out of the neck. Beginning to let all the tension melt out of the face. And we're going to work through the physical body throughout practice, looking at places that we can tense and find tension, find muscular tension, hold on to it, and then experience letting it go and soften. And throughout practice, think about containing weights on your body, like some kind of visual weight, some heaviness on your body. And as we practice, you can feel it. And the more that we move and breathe, the more that it starts to soften and loosen and let go. So we're going to breathe, hold some tension, and then soften and let go. Really trying to let go of the weight of this posture, the weight of the stress. So if your feet are not already on the ground, bend your knees and bring the soles of the feet to the ground. Soften the shoulders back to the ground. Soften the arms to wherever the shoulders are comfortable. We're going to start at our base. So our base, our feet, the things on the ground. Sense of home. Sense of grounding. And when the world is changing, sometimes sense of grounding is most difficult. So really kind of rub your feet round on the ground. Pick up your toes. Feel your feet. Sway your knees, start to land in your hips, your legs, your feet. And then bringing your right knee up, look at your right foot. And you can hold on to the thigh. You can just look at the foot, really connecting. So as we're trying to release stress in the body, we're trying to get that mind-body connection and be fully present. So we're looking at our foot, really telling ourselves to be present. Spread your toes. Look at the toes, spread them as wide as you can. Start to feel the muscles of the feet. Keeping the toes wide, start to take a really slow circle with the right foot. Really, really slow, as if you're trying to feel every angle your foot can move in, and you're looking at it, and then reverse your circle. So keeping that mind connected to the muscles that are moving the foot. And then start to move one direction and then the other, just slowly moving through the muscles of the foot. And then we're going to pull the toes up towards the shin. We're going to bring the toes in toward midline and then push them away and then out to the outside. So like a little U shape, horseshoe shape with your foot. Pull it in and pull it out. And try and make all this movement come from below the ankle. So we're not moving the shin, we're not letting the leg do the work. Starting to feel the foot. And if one way feels harder to do, more tense in the muscles, sit there and pulse it. Notice. And then let that go and hold on just underneath the knee. So now we're going to work underneath the knee, so you're holding your thigh just above the knee. We're going to work the muscles underneath the knee. So we're going to take that leg, lower leg, in a slow circle. But we're trying not to make the thigh do all the work. We're trying to find the muscles underneath the knee. So taking slow circles one direction and then reversing and going back the other way. So really trying to feel the muscles of the shin. What?
I don't think I can do this without using my thigh.
Yeah, you're trying not to. So the bigger muscles are in the thigh and they're going to want to do all the work. You want to find the muscles in the shin. And then let that go. And we're going to take our leg up. You can have a little bend in it. Now we're going to work the muscles of the whole leg. So trying to keep your hips grounded. Maybe even bring your hands to your hips. So your hands remind your hips to stay still. Take your right leg in a really slow but engaged circle. So the muscles of the right leg are engaged. Really slow. Trying to feel every point that your leg can rotate within the hip. So really trying to find all the muscles, engage the leg nice and slow. And then reverse your circles. Notice if your back is firing up, if your stomach starts to fire up, if the right leg is gripping and trying to hold on. Notice all these places you might be carrying compensation patterns. Soften the neck.
I'm using my leg muscles.
And then bend the right knee, give it a little hug, bring the left knee in, give it a little hug. Maybe rock on the low back. Take both legs down straight and then notice left and right sides. Take a little wiggle, notice differences. And then bring the right foot to the ground, left foot up, knee up with the right leg. We're working on the foot first. So spread the toes, look at the toes. And then keeping the toes spread, trying not to move the leg, we're going to take the foot in a circle. So working below the ankle. And then back in the other way. So go one direction, full circle, and then the other way, reversing. Noticing any creaks and groans and complaints of muscles. Really connecting to your feet. Nice slow breath. And then pull the toes up towards the shin. Keep the muscles of the foot active. Draw the toes in toward midline, push away, and then out. U shape, in toward midline, and then out. Trying to keep the legs still. Just working the muscles of the foot. And then place the hand in on the thigh above the knee and circles with the lower leg, nice and slow and controlled. Trying to feel the muscles. So if you're having a lot of trouble connecting with the muscles below the legs, not looking at anyone in particular, make your circles a little bit smaller. So make them like you're trying to point your big toe and make a really tiny, tiny, tiny circle. See if you can find the muscles in the low leg a little more. And then back in the other direction.
Oh, there are muscles there.
I'm not sure your circles are your friend. You seem to have a lot of trouble with circles.
I do. They always become just my leg going left and right. Circles are hard.
And then take the left leg up, hips grounded. Now big, long circles, keeping the entire leg engaged. And again, you can make these circles smaller. We're just looking to find all the muscles that help the leg move. So we're connecting to them. Look at your legs so the mind doesn't wander away. Really connect to the muscles that are active. Watch the low back. Watch the neck. Watch the face. And reverse your circles. Lower the left leg, sway the knees side to side. Feel the hips. We're going to work hip flexors. So we're going to place the feet down on the ground and we're really going to pull our hips up with the muscles of the hip flexors. So think about all the times you've sat and watched TV for maybe too long. These muscles get soft and weak when we sit too long. So we're going to think about forcing some strength in here, really bringing some tension in. So as you inhale, pull your hips up with the muscles in the front of your hips, trying not to overuse the glutes and the backs of the legs. Exhale as you lower. Inhale as you pull hips up. Exhale as you lower. And as you start to move, really start to try and bring the focus right into the front of the hips and thighs, pulling the hips up rather than pushing and overusing those big, strong glutes in the back. If it helps, you can bring your hands to the front of your hips just to help you keep all of your focus here. Bring some tension to these muscles. Soften your face. Soften your neck. Soften any gripping in the toes. And then lower the hips. Bring the right leg up, knee bent. And we're going to pull the right ankle in towards our nose. See if you can feel some muscles in the inner thigh. We're going to pull the right ankle back out to the right and then in. So we're taking some movement, trying to find a slightly different muscle group. Keep your hips grounded and the leg. Active leg. We're not just flopping it around in the joints. We're trying to find some muscles here. Watch for that low back firing up too much. Make your movement smaller. And then cross the right ankle just underneath the left knee. And press the right knee away from you with the muscles of the leg, keeping the hips grounded. So, if you're not feeling any opening in the hips with this, you can wiggle the left leg in closer to the glute. You can slowly bring the left knee in towards the chest. Or you can keep the left foot lowered, peel the left toes up and press into the heel. And then feel like you're trying to pull the heel back. Activate more of your base muscles, more of your glutes, more of your legs. Squeeze and find some tension in around the glutes, the legs, your base. And then slowly release, cross right knee over left. Bring both knees in towards the chest. And you're going to imagine pulling both feet to opposite shoulders. You can rest your hands on your shins. You're looking to breathe into the glute piriformis space on the right side. So these are our fight or flight muscles, the ones that fire up first, getting ready to run. Breathe into this space. Think about all of the fear and anxiety of 2020. Imagine it resting right here, getting us ready to flee and run. And imagine you could just slowly, with each exhale, release some of this tension. Slowly unravel, left leg down, right foot down, knees up. Little sway of the knees just to reset, cross the hips and low back. Grounding the hips, thinking about being both hips on the ground, left knee up. Engage left leg, draw left ankle towards the nose. Engaged leg, nice and strong. And then pull the ankle out towards the left and in. The whole leg moves, but we're really thinking about the muscles of the inner thigh. Leg strong, hip grounded. Look for your compensation patterns. Keep an eye on the low back. Soften the face, soften the neck.
I think I'm doing this with my stomach.
Did you just say you can move your leg with your stomach?
Oh no, I think my stomach's just tight then, because you can't move your leg with your stomach.
And then slowly cross your
I
left
refuse to
ankle
believe that.
underneath your right knee. Press left knee away from you. Think about your hips, your base, your sense of home, your sense of security. You can adjust by wiggling right foot in, lifting the toes, pulling the knee in. Check in. Notice where your opening feels right in your body. Slowly slip the left knee over the right and bring the knees into the chest. Our fight or flight muscles, left side. Breathe. Breathe in fresh. Release out tension. Slowly unravel, left foot down, knee up, right foot down, knee up, soft sway of the knees. You're going to bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open wide. If this is intense for you, prop up your knees, place a block in underneath your thigh, right above the point where you go to the maximum opening. So open up the knees and the hips. Make your hands warm again. So rub your hands nice and warm. And place them wherever is comfortable. So either right on the tops of the thighs, right on the hip bones, some place in this space that feels comfortable for you to rest your hands. Feel the warmth of your hands. Think about your base. So we just used our base, our legs, our hips. Connected to these muscles, brought tension here. See if you can now soften and release. And our sense of security and home can waver. Can be difficult to grasp at times as life changes. But we can take moments in time to build building blocks of foundation. So rather than thinking about home and security as one giant concept, thinking about right here in this moment, and perhaps taking the time to say to yourself, right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. Think about giving yourself permission to feel safe in this moment, in this body, at this present point of time. And then option, if this is intense, to bring your knees back up to center or keep them where they're at. Rub your hands together. Make them nice and warm. And this time, bring your hands to the muscles in your stomach. So either side of your stomach, really thinking about your digestive space. Feel, excuse me. Feel the warmth of your hands in this space as if you could soften your muscles and your stomach, your digestion. In moments of stress, our body tenses and gets ready to fire up and flee, and our muscles and our parts of our body that are responsible for digestion slow. So imagine you could turn off fight or flight and turn on rest and digest. Imagine you could forgive yourself for all that comfort food of the year. And soften and warm this space. And then bring your feet back to the ground if they're not already there. A little side sway of the knees and hips. bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug, thinking about it being a comfort to be curled up. Come on over to a side and slowly make your way up to a seated position. So if you need a chair for your seat, grab a chair. There are no prizes for sitting in an easy seat. Make yourself comfortable. This is a class for releasing and reducing stress, so really come to a comfortable seat. Grab some props. You want me to do so that I'm not covering people? Sit in your seat. So we're working our way up through the body. We're going to think about the solar plexus right now. Bring a little warmth to your hands. And it doesn't matter which one goes on top. Place one hand right at the solar plexus, right in between the rib cage, and one on top. Think about warmth here. So in the teachings, this is often thought of the fiery sun, bright, burning yellow space. Think about warmth here. And this is a center that's often thought of as our emotional center. So think about the emotional roller coaster that this year has been. Some of us have experienced losses, great and small. Think about giving your whole body permission to have emotions rather than bury them or tell them what they should be. Just like the fiery energy of the sun, emotions are supposed to move, be fiery. They are filters for our environment, and they help us process. They help us move through this world. So as if giving yourself kindness and compassion for your emotions, allowing yourself to feel. And then thinking about this space, we're going to take very tiny spirals, thinking about moving just the rib cage. So very tiny spirals, you can hold on to this space, keeping some warmth here. Thinking about giving it a little churn, squeezing the muscles of the inner core just a little bit. Churning up this space. Trying not to move huge and moving around on the hips. Nice, tiny, tight circles. And then reverse the direction. Nice, slow breath. Pause back in center. Keeping your hands here if you would like to warm them again, and place them back a little warmer. Maybe trying the other hand on top. Connecting with this space and thinking about all the times you've worried about what 2021 might bring. And imagine just letting those worries slowly soften off your physical body as if they're weights on your shoulders, weights on your head. They're slowly dripping. Keeping your hand on your emotional center. Allowing fear and worry just to be an emotion and not something that you have to tense and fight. 2021 is not here yet. What is yet to come is not here. It's an invisible foe. We can let it go. We can sit in present moment. And we're going to think about our unconditional love center, so center of the chest. So bring your hands a little bit warmer. right onto the center of the chest. Again, it doesn't matter which one is on top, just feel some warmth here. So unconditional love, somewhat easy concept for us to think about when we think about our loved ones, maybe our pets. And the harder task is to think about unconditional love for ourselves. So imagine softening into this space and offering yourself compassion. Compassion for all of the moments you felt you stumbled this year. Compassion for all the times you felt fear or worry. Compassion for times you felt you made mistakes. And trying not to sit on memories, but to imagine being wrapped in a ball of compassionate energy, beginning from your heart and spreading out throughout your physical form, so much so that you begin to glow as if you're wrapped in a little ball of compassion. If you're a particularly visual person, you can imagine green energy beginning in the heart and slowly spreading until you're fully and utterly glowing with compassion and kindness. Drawing it in for yourself so that you have plenty to give out to those in your world that need it. And then we're going to move and breathe for the heart center. So we're going to work through opening the chest. We're going to bring our arms up, elbows bent and elbows wide. We're going to pull back, open up the chest, and then squeeze and close. So inhale as you open, breathe in as if you're breathing in through that place we just had our hands on, and then squeeze back. Keep this movement from the rib cage up, so not huge movements, but little movements, focusing in on this heart center space. Following your breath. Bring your elbows open, hold open, and imagine you're breathing right into that chest space. Breathing in fresh. And releasing out any of those things gripping around our heart wall. Think about our throat space, so making our hands warm, nice and warm again. And if you're not comfortable with putting your hand on your throat, just rest your hands right above. Feel the warmth of your hands. Otherwise, find somewhere that you can rest your hands and feel the warmth of your hands. Imagine breathing right into the center of your throat. If you're visual, big blue ball. Big blue ball of cooling, refreshing energy, releasing tension in around our throats, making space for our breath. Imagine the releasing of words that we've said that we've later regretted, or perhaps words we felt we should have said that we have not yet said. Give the muscles of your throat a little squeeze and start to breathe in a little more forcefully. So breathing in as if you're squeezing the breath as it comes in and out with the muscles of your throat, restricting your breath. Allowing your breath to cleanse as it moves slowly through. And then from here, we're going to practice lion's breath. So, lion's breath is opening up and breathing in and ha out, making a really strong, forceful ha sound. And you stick out your tongue like a lion. So we're going to breathe in, ha out 3 times. And then we're going to bring both of our hands over our forehead and touch the space in the middle of our forehead. So just hold here and sit. You can also bring your hands to prayer and touch your prayer to your third eye. So breathing in 3 times. Inhale in, ha out 3 times, and then pause. So take a deep breath in to prepare. Bring your hands to your forehead. Notice any sensations that come up, any tingling. Think about wide open throats, soft throats. And then we're going to move into child's pose, pose of surrender. So nice and slow, come to child's pose. Find a child's pose that works for you. Some people need bolsters in underneath their feet. Find a way that works for you. If you're not 100% comfortable in child's pose, come all the way down to crocodile. Have a little tension, a little place, a point of contact of either your hand or a block, something on the middle of your forehead. Start to be in this pose, pose of surrender. Think about the fact that this is the pose often linked to surrendering yourself. We do this for kings and queens throughout our history. We're exposing ourselves. And take a moment to think about the concept of surrender, letting go. Think about all that we carry on our shoulders. Think about it softening. Think about all of these worries being invisible enemies we can't possibly fight. And letting go of the fight, surrendering the fight. And then we're going to move into our pose for resting pose, a long meditation today. So set up in whatever pose you would like to be in for your resting pose. We're going to do a long chakra meditation. So thinking about those centers that we just worked through. You can be in full crocodile. You can be on your back with your feet down, knees up. If you're on your back with your feet down, knees up. Find a comfortable position of your heels, not too far away from the glutes, not too close. So your knees are soft, they land in together. Otherwise, place your feet on a chair. Place a bolster under your knees. And start to land.
You got it?
So think about all the places that we were looking for tension, working, thinking about throughout this practice. Beginning at the feet, start to give the feet a little squeeze. Make sure that you can feel the muscles and then let them go. Loosen the feet. Make sure the feet are soft and light. The muscles of the legs, give them a squeeze and then let them go. Muscles in the torso, the arms, squeeze the hands and then let them go. try to imagine your shoulders softening, 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 and the weight of gravity drawing you down into the support of the earth below you. Imagine turning off each muscle, being able to one by one say, all the work is done. We can soften, we can take a little break. Slowly releasing control of your breath. Letting go, softening. And we're going to work our way back up through our energy centers, releasing. And we're going to start at our base. So think about the tailbone. We think about our energy centers as being the places where nerve bundles are in our spine. And there's a front and a back to our energy centers, and they move up and they are aligned with our spine. And then one at the crown of our head. So we're going to start at the one at our tailbone. So think about your tailbone, but front and back of the tailbone. And you can think about a red moving ball of energy. You can think about a red glowing flower, like a lotus flower, rooting down and glowing up above towards the light. Whatever helps you connect to this space. Maybe you just think of right here at this space anatomically. Bring your awareness right to your tailbone. Think about grounding. Think about earth. And think about giving yourself permission to feel secure at home in this present moment, in this body. And perhaps saying to yourself, right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. And then walk your attention up the spine to right about the point of your navel. And here it's either an orange blossom or an orange ball of energy. Think about new life, fresh energy, cleansing of this space, a softening into this space. And this is our space of creative energy, of creation and creative energy. So as you soften into this space, perhaps taking a moment to say to yourself, I am free to be creative. And just say these statements to yourself as if accepting them as truths and not thinking about what they might mean or what answers they might need. But just saying them as if saying them to your whole self. Your spiritual, your physical, your whole self. And planting them like seeds as if making them true. Slowly walk your attention up to the solar plexus space. A yellow blossom, a yellow ball of energy. And think about this fiery, emotional space. Imagine a fiery, hot energy that moves freely. Imagine it passing as if it's coming through the body, flowing through. Without restriction, without tension, just emotional space flowing. Softening into this space. Noticing any emotions that are present and noticing perhaps the possibility that you have opposing emotions present. So maybe some sadness and some joy at the same time. Imagine the rest of your body holding space for your emotions. The way that you might comfort a loved one without trying to solve a problem, fix, mend, just simply be present, perhaps an arm around them as they feel their emotions. There's this story of Piglet and Pooh and how he's experiencing a tough emotional day. He asks, would you like to talk about it? And he says, no. So Piglet sits next to him and he says, that's okay, we'll just sit here. So think about being that for yourself. Just sitting here, being present. Not fixing, not mending, just sharing the space and being compassionate and kind with whatever emotion is present. Be your own best friend. Be your own comfort. Take a moment to think about how we think about all these energy centers and we break them up so that we can think about a way to process all the parts of ourselves, but they're truly not separate. We can just play with these ways to help us understand ourselves, help us get to know each other. So our emotions are not separate from our creative energy, and our emotions are not separate from our head, and they're not separate from our sense of security. So taking a moment with this emotional space to just remind yourself that you're grounded, that you're present in the here and now, that you allow the creative energy to flow, and you allow the emotions to flow. And slowly walk your attention up back to the heart center. Unconditional love, a green ball of energy or a green blossom. And think about the heart space. So think about the fact that we have front and back. So you have your open heart space on the front and you have your open heart space on the back in your back. And my favorite teachers likes to say you cannot have an open heart if you do not have your own back. So think about, rather than walking around in the world with an open heart, believing that nothing will ever go wrong because you're leading with your heart and your heart is always right. Think about being so strong and so connected to your strength in your heart, your connection to your heart. That when things go wrong, you know you can ground and center and connect back into this space and realign, recharge. This is your power, your spirit, your soul, your guide, your inner wisdom. This is where it rests. And though we go through the world and we build up these walls around our heart thinking that they're going to protect us from everything outside, they also stop us from getting in here and connecting in and resting in this space, recharging, remembering who we are, remembering we're all connected, remembering our connection to our spiritual self, our higher power, whatever that may be. And if you don't have a particular spiritual belief, yoga allows space for any spiritual belief. If you don't have space, don't have a particular higher power, you can think about that connection you have when you see something in nature like a beautiful sunset and your breath is taken away and you feel that, oh my, it's just beautiful. That is your inner spark connecting with something outside of yourself. So think about that feeling. Think about where it rests and thinking about that feeling spreading and moving and flowing through you. Allowing unconditional love for any of the tension in the physical body. Unconditional love for any of the tension around the thoughts. Unconditional love for any time the ego popped up and perhaps ran the show a little more than it should have. Any time for when the emotions were running the show more than perhaps you felt they should have, by connecting in to this inner part, your inner wisdom, your guide, your inner truth. Think about breathing in fresh right into this space and releasing out tension across the chest and shoulders, across the upper back. Breathing in fresh, compassionate, unconditional, loving energy and allowing it to spread. And releasing out all of that tension held, all that weight held across the chest, shoulders, back. And then slowly walk your attention up to the center of the throat. And here, cleansing blue ball of energy or blue blossom. And our throat is our truth. So our throat is the words and deeds and actions that we speak. And the tension that forms here, the words, deeds, and actions. And our tension that rests here is when our words, deeds, and actions are not in line with that innermost truth, our inner wisdom from our spiritual center. So we know when we've done things that we don't feel are in line with our inner compass. And oftentimes we resist and we tense against those actions. We feel regret. We beat ourselves up in these paths in our heads about what we should or should not have done. And we hold on to the tension around these words, deeds, and actions. So think about all of the times that perhaps your words, deeds, and actions were not in line with your inner truth. Try not to think about memories, but think of them as weight of tension. Trying not to go down that cognitive path. We're letting our brain rest, our mind rest. We're thinking visually, imaginatively, thinking of tension, resting in our neck space, in our throat space. And as we feel our breath, not forced, but as we just watch our breath flow through, breathing in fresh and releasing out what is held. Watch it, feel it, try to be present with the movement of air in through the throat and out through the throat. Is that being ready to let go of some of this tension and allow it to soften out. Maybe imagining little particles attaching to your breath as it goes by and being swept out, ready to be loosened, softened, and let go of, processed. And slowly walk your attention right to the top of the spinal cord, the center of the brain. The space just below the firings of the brain, the connection point of the spinal highway with the brain. This meeting point of where all the energy moves, all these messages from our brain down our spine throughout our body, and then all the messages all the way back up, the center point of our energetic highway, right below the thoughts, right below the processing of these messages, the center point. And if you're visual, your ball is purple, fresh, moving energy, or maybe a purple blossom here. Resting in the center of the brain as if just below the cognitive part of your brain. And what rests here? Your intuition. The part of your brain that processes before the cognitive brain gets in the way. The part of our brain that allows us to connect to our spirituality and do something greater than ourselves. The part of our brain that allows us a connection with other people. Before the cognitive head gets in the way, the center point. And imagine all of the familiar patterns in your brain, these well-worn paths that we take, well-worn paths of memories, well-worn paths of stories we tell ourselves, and negative things that we say to ourselves, that inner critic that exists within. Think about these being paths in your brain, as if your brain were a forest and there are these well-worn trails in your brain. And think about this center point being a cleansing point. Rest all of your awareness here as if allowing it to slowly spread and soften and cleanse the mind of all of these paths that perhaps we're ready to let go of. It's not that we're getting rid of the memory. It's not that we're accepting all the bad things that happened to us as things that should have happened. It's that we're getting rid of the burden that attachment has, allowing it to be something that has happened without that trail to get to it that we like to tread on. Imagine slowly softening, sweeping your trails, allowing things to be present in the mind, allowing your mind to be what it is, the thoughts to be what they are, the firings of the brain, without that incessant ego stooping in and telling you that you should or should not be doing this or that, but resting in the center and watching them fly. Allowing your brain to be as it is. And finding that central point, that energetic center, that cleansing center, the place to connect within. And then from here, we're going to allow a little trickle, a little softening at the crown of the head. And as if we're going to let a little cord of energy float through the crown of our head and connect to something outside of us. And without thinking of what that might be, imagine it is a cloud of energy just above you. And from the crown of your head, you're going to connect in. And it's slowly going to recharge like you're plugging into an outlet, something outside of you, and exactly and precisely what you need right now. It's going to slowly trickle down throughout your entire body. Recharging, renewing, bringing in fresh, and having your whole physical form ready to release what is ready to be released, letting go, softening, and surrendering. And then without closing the crown of your head and tightening around the crown of your head, just imagine disconnecting your energy and allowing your own life force to spread and be recharged and soft and fresh throughout your body. And we're going to repeat our intentions for each space. As if saying a final farewell for the tension of the year. Letting go and feeling strong, recharged and refreshed. Starting at our base, our tailbone. Right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. And our navel, our creative energy. I am free to be creative. Solar plexus. I allow my emotions to flow freely. Heart center. I love myself unconditionally. I am love. Throat center. I am free to speak my truth. Intuition space, center of the brain. I trust my intuition. And then finally the crown, the top of the head. I am connected. I am connected. And if you have the time to take and you feel like you need more time, resting, surrendering, go ahead and spend as much time as you need. Maybe even walking through these centers and repeating them to yourself, saying them the way that you would to someone who is struggling, saying them with kindness, compassion, and conviction, as if you already believe it true. If you need to finish up the 60-minute mark, you're going to begin to find yourself back on the ground. Bring some little wiggles to the fingers and the toes, some movement to the physical body, and slowly make your way over to a fetal position, curling up in a tight little ball. And thinking while in this grounding pose, this comforting pose, being in a little ball, thinking of being ready to let go of any of the other burdens that are ready to be released from your mind, from your body, from your memory, walls of your heart, particularly that inner critic. Think about all the unkind things we say to ourselves and imagine leaving them on the mat, releasing them. Thinking about every breath being a moment to breathe in fresh and release what is no longer needed. And a chance to start again. Breathe in fresh. Release what is no longer needed. And then slowly make your way up to a seated position. And complete your practice by bringing your hands to prayer at your heart center. Letting your thumbs touch your heart center. So think about bringing your left and right sides to meet in front of your heart, as if accepting yourself as whole and complete, precisely as you are. Think about acknowledging your own inner wisdom. And then think about sending out some of that unconditional kindness. And you can just think about sending it out in a visual way, or you can think about somebody in particular you may think needs some unconditional kindness and compassion. And visualize them accepting this energy, this feeling. Perhaps see their face soften. And repeat these words, whether just sending them out or imagining someone accepting them. May you be happy. May you be healthy and strong. May you be peaceful and at ease. And sending out gratitude to everyone who has practiced with us online this year, and the messages and love that you've all sent us. We're so grateful. May you all be happy. May you be healthy and strong. May you be peaceful and at ease. See you next year.